For those of you who didn't get a chance to join us for meditation this morning, the quote that we had in meditation was, "Respond to life from your spiritual practice rather than your emotional programming. The moment you change your perception is the moment you rewrite the chemistry of your body." And that is by Dr. Bruce Lipton. Anybody here familiar with Bruce Lipton? Yeah, some hands going up? Okay. So many times I have talked about my journey of weight training over the last year and a bit, just over a year now. And when I think back to when I started working out with my current trainer, Gareth, when I started with him in February of last year, I had just finished 4 weeks working out with someone else who was okay, but wasn't quite the right trainer for me because I wasn't challenged and I wasn't supported enough. And so it didn't work out between the two of us, and so I went to Gareth, who I was really excited to work out with before, and we made a deal, we made a special arrangement, and now I've been working out with him for just over a year. And I have talked about some of my, what they call gains at the gym, which is like things that I can now do that I couldn't do before. And when I get to lifting the heavier and heavier weight and squatting with the heavier and heavier weights, then I let you guys know, because it's just so super exciting that my body can actually do this. And why that surprises me, being a New Thought minister, is really interesting because even during meditation, I mentioned the mind controls the body, not the other way around. And so what I came to notice over the last few weeks was, even though I was really committed and I was very intentional and I was going like 3 times a week for the most part, working out with Gareth downtown, and then also having one Pilates session with a trainer in Sydney once a week, that I wasn't seeing, or at least it felt like I wasn't seeing the results on the inside or on the outside of how I was feeling on the inside. Like, I know that I have gained a lot of lean muscle mass. I know that I'm stronger because I can lift those 55-pound weights when I squat. I can bench press, almost 75 pounds now. And that's not the highest that I've done before, but like to go from, not doing it for many, many years to starting to do it again, it's just so satisfying and so amazing. And so there's all these things at the gym that I'm doing because I'm working with this trainer who is telling me what to do, switching up the exercises from week to week to week, actually session to session, so that my body is never bored and never kind of knows like, ooh, I know what's coming next, so I'm just going to phone it in, So there's always this challenge. There is the support. And I need the support. I mean, some people are like, why don't you just learn how to do the exercises yourself and then do them yourself? And I'm like, you know what? Not for me. I make so many decisions every single day that when it comes to this, I just want to be supported. I just want to be told, do this, and all I have to do is listen and follow through. I will ask questions like, where am I supposed to feel this? I'm feeling this here. Is that okay? What muscles am I working kind of thing? Because I'm curious, but I don't want to have to think about what it is I'm supposed to do and then do it. Plus, I know that I would not be where I am today on my journey if I didn't have that support. I have it in me, but I don't access it to challenge myself in the same way. And so I so appreciate having that support. And that support goes the same way in my spiritual and mental world. I mean, I spent 7 years in consciousness studies, doing the foundational classes, moving into practitioner studies, and then ministerial, did some advanced consciousness in between there. And just as an aside note, on Thursday night, just as I was going to bed, I checked the email just before I went to bed, and there was a notice from the Emerson Theological Institute that said, "Congrats, you've fulfilled all your credits for the doctorate program." And so all I have to do now is write my final exam, and then I will have a doctorate in consciousness studies, which, never in a million years did it ever occur to me that stepping onto my spiritual journey would give me that kind of bonus. I mean, I just want to be on the journey. I want to experience every single aspect of this evolution of me that I can possibly experience. And I've needed support along the way, and I continue needing support. Because in order for me to stand up here, to inspire you at my absolute best, I got to keep being challenged. I got to keep stretching. I got to keep, on Wednesday, as we say, expand my mind, open my heart, and activate my soul. And so I have people in place. I have classes that I continue taking. I just finished another round with Neil Douglas Klotz on Aramaic Jesus teachings, and I'm moving into another class next week with Glenn, actually, starting, at the Global Truth Center, Los Angeles, on quantum habits. Now, they're kind of sticking quantum in front of a lot of stuff, and it's like, okay, but quantum habits. And we know what's coming because we've been in this Noticing Ninjas discussion group for over a year now with the person who's going to be teaching this class. And so some of the stuff we've gone through in our discussion groups is part of what the class is going to be about. And so I'm super excited because I also really, really love Dr. Laurie Savage as a teacher. And I just want to keep learning, like all the time, right? But it's not just about the learning, it's about applying, right? And so when I go to the gym, I'm kind of forced to apply. Because when Gareth is like, pick up that weight, chances are I'm not going to argue and go, well, I really feel like doing this one. He's like, I hear you, pick up that one anyway. And in class, it's a little bit more up to me because no one's doing my homework for me and no one's doing my, practices and rituals and whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing every day. But for me, it's still that commitment is there, and it's so important to have that ongoing stretching and growth and challenge and support because I just want to be more of who and what I truly am. And so one of the things that I noticed as I was talking about, I'm not seeing on the outside what I'm feeling on the inside. And so I was talking to Gareth, and he said, well, how much protein are you eating? And as a vegetarian since 15 years old, this is a question I've heard or a statement many times. You're not getting enough protein. Yes, I am. And so now, this time it was like, oh, no, maybe I'm not. Because apparently, when you're doing heavy-duty weight training, you want to eat at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I was nowhere near that. And what was really interesting was as I started paying attention to and really going, okay, if I'm eating 100 grams of fish, that's only 20 grams of protein. It's not 100 grams of protein. I got to eat more fish. I got to eat more other stuff. There's no pure protein, that I can eat on its own that I don't have to eat tons and tons and tons of. So I've had to readjust my diet and kind of doing so begrudgingly because I really like my vegetables. I could thrive and survive on stir fries until the cows come home, but stir fries aren't so much part of this kind of protocol. And so I almost feel like I'm force feeding myself, to eat enough protein so that I can lift the heavy stuff. And even in 1 week, did I notice the difference? And I noticed it the day after I didn't eat the protein. And I still haven't gotten up to about 130 grams a day. Like, it's insane. I don't know if anyone here counts your macros, but 130 grams of protein is a lot of food. I've gotten to about 80. And that's I can't possibly eat any more in this day. But anyway, what I noticed was one day I'm like, I don't want to have bone broth anymore. I don't want to cook anymore. I don't want to do this. I don't want to stuff myself anymore. So I'm just going to have my beloved vegetables and hummus and all my greens and everything, right? And then the next day I get to the gym and I can't lift what I'm supposed to lift. And I'm like, whoa. So there was that. Okay. The other thing I also noticed, and this kind of goes to the quote by Bruce Lipton about responding from your spiritual practice rather than your emotional programming and rewriting what it is that you're experiencing, there was a big challenge that I was navigating in the last week. It was taking a lot out of me. There were a lot of phone calls and emails and a lot of prayer and intention, emergency session with my mentor, my prayer partners, all of this to help me to amp up so that I could handle, so that I could navigate the situation and support some of the people who were involved. And so at the gym one day, what I noticed was I was talking about some of what was going on, and I don't talk while I'm lifting because I really need to focus on what it is that I'm lifting. But after talking about this, I'm like, oh, I can't, what is going on? So all of a sudden, I'm doing an experiment. I'm lifting, and I'm thinking one thing, and it's like, and then I'm like, love. And then I'm thinking a person's name that I'm challenged with, you? And then I'm like, love, and thinking just power, strength, like really affirming phrases and words. What a difference it made versus when it was something that, I'm not going to say negative, but that was challenging. And then the weakness, that I experienced in my body just because I was thinking a word that was not as life-affirming as love or power or strength. I mean, I've done it before, but again, why does this surprise me? But it was just such a cool experience because it goes to show how the mind controls the body. What we think informs our life experience. Thoughts are things. Thoughts are experiences. Change your thinking, change your life. Change your energy, change your life. So the title of my talk today is Keep Powering Up. And I was looking for a photo that was going to inspire, and I finally came across this little girl. And I just looked at her and thought, wow, this is someone who is dialed in. This is someone who is opening up to whatever it is that life has to offer her while she's knowing exactly who and what she is to begin with. And so for me, I look at this and I'm like, this is what I want to be doing every day. This is what I want all of us to be doing every day. And so whatever it is that you're doing, as you're taking care of your physical health, your emotional health, your mental health, it's all your spiritual health. And so your spiritual practices, whatever they are, meditation, prayer, being in community, being around people who challenge you and stretch you and support you, and sometimes that challenging and stretching and supporting is people who disagree with you. So that kind of like a tree that is growing, a sapling that is bending in the wind and getting more resilient, when we're around people who challenge us and don't think the same way that we do, it gives us an opportunity to remember who we are, to remember who they are, and then to open up to a different perspective and go, I never saw it that way before. Thank you for teaching me something new, Or just, I disagree with you and leave it at that, and that's okay, So powering up, what is it that you're doing to power up? What are your practices? What is it, and are you doing it consistently? Because I've talked about this before. It's not like going to the gym, working out for 2 hours one day, and you're good for the month, right? There was something even I saw in another class that I'm taking where someone was saying, just because you don't have cavities anymore, you don't stop brushing and flossing your teeth, right? We brush our teeth every day. Why don't we meditate every day? Why don't we pray every day? Why aren't we reading and expanding and opening up to that incredible, amazing infinitude that we are every single day? We're at opportunity to do so. No one's forcing us not to, because we're the ones who are personally responsible for our life experience, right? So if we can brush our teeth every day, I think that we can do some more of our spiritual practice every day to really amplify our spiritual game. And so just like we train physically to grow physical muscle, we need to amp up our spiritual game to expand the mind, open the heart, and further activate the soul. Because we are pure energy. We are pure consciousness, which means that we are never stagnant. Okay? We can never actually stop. Even when we are still, especially when we are still. That energy, that creativity, that dynamism, that infinite potentiality that everyone and everything is, that's when we really get to feel it. That's when we really get to open up to it and open up to all of the amazing things that we haven't yet experienced. All of the incredible ideas, insights, wisdom that is just there waiting to be unleashed in, through, and as each and every one of us in the unique, original, unrepeatable ways that it can only do so in, through, and as each and every one of us. So what's stopping us? What are we waiting for? The only ones who have the answer to that is us, right? So I'm actually just going to go right to the end because I want you guys to be able to talk about this a little bit. When we consciously, intentionally keep powering up our mind, body, heart, and soul through physical, mental, and spiritual practice, We create opportunity after opportunity to live on purpose as the infinite creativity, resilience, and love we truly are. And because consciousness is everything, every practice is spiritual practice. The more committed we are to our practice, the more consistently we fulfill the purpose of God, spirit, source, love, the quantum field, energy, creativity, whatever you want to call it, expressing in, through, and as us. So my question to you today, right here, right now, in this moment, what are you willing to commit to today? What are you willing to commit to this week to keep powering up? Thank you, and so it is.